about mythology and how we've shifted in society our notion from the fact that you draw on the stories of your culture to the notion that you must make things up new, and that copyright law is one of the reasons, because you better not draw on the stories of your culture if someone with a lot of money and lawyers owns those stories. Was that what you were thinking?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there are many ways in which a story can be besmirched, but letting it die out seems like sort of a
Right.
silly way of valuing it.
Right.
I mean, like, doesn't it seem like it would be a much more powerful thing if somehow we were given the freedom to interact with it and evolve it farther? And then eventually it becomes something that's like, this is a real cultural mainstay.
Right.
Now, when they go back to it, we've been thinking about Mickey Mouse, who I don't give a shit about, frankly. And Mickey Mouse can go, just do... I'm not going to pay any attention to it.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the stories become more powerful as we retell them, and we've not allowed our culture to do that. I was sort of saying one of my favorite TV shows, which is Once Upon a Time, because Disney owns it. It's an ABC show. They are allowed to play with all of Disney's characters, and they retell their stories in fun ways, and so I think part of the reason it's my favorite is and I love that show so much is that it's pulling in all of the mythology of my childhood in a sense, because I certainly grew up on Disney movies, and even though they integrate some of the newer stuff too, it's they're allowed to do that because they own it, but no one else. I mean, some of those fairy tales, obviously. I mean, how many Snow White movies have there been in just like the last 5 years? I feel like there's a Snow White movie a year at this point. Some of the bigger fairy tales you're allowed to retell, but there are certainly... Disney has influenced those fairy tales so heavily in our culture that there are certain aspects of them that you're not allowed to touch.
I mean, I feel like there's also such a huge element of this in the corporate schemes of building up these ways in which they can wedge their way into your subconscious and get you to buy things you don't need, and so I guess I would say I feel really uncomfortable with the notion of these stories as something that really is the mythological base I'm assessing my world on, especially where things that are like, watching TV has a way of basically like getting you to scoot into certain styles of how it is you interpret the world that you live in, and what do you think matters, and how do you evaluate whether you're doing well in society or not. How do you judge yourself in relation to the status hierarchy game that people are so subconsciously bound up in. I feel like I just want to disentangle all of that and be my own unique, authentic character. Think about things the way that I feel most compelled to.